It's almost like we never left.
Who the fuck are you people?
What the fuck are you doing in my home? Get out of here. Calling the cops. Bunch of strangers broke in, made me order food, and then we talked about banging.
They've done it for over a year now. They just keep showing up and keep robbing me.
I keep trying to kill them, and they won't leave me alone.
They keep banging me.
And all they say is, well, we're not dead yet. See you next week.
I mean, you can't say it's not true.
Just for that, I'm going to make sure to kill at least one of you this time.
Good luck.
Well, it was good knowing you, Galdrien. This is your story. 1, 2, 3, not it.
No, we just have to make it hurt as much as possible.
No, see, that's going to be the true ending, is just like Galdrien sitting alone on an unpopulated planet. Nobody to hear his music.
And then he's just going to sit there and just be like, finally, and let one rip.
Your pretty dainty elf.
He's like, looks over his shoulders, and now I will play the best horn.
Dead.
So are you finally good, or did you move on to a different game?
No. I'm good.
Okay. So speaking of people being dead, you're all ghosts. No.
Vapors. Thank you very much.
Oh wait, yeah, that was the one. Sorry, hold on. I just got to scratch out all my campaign notes because we already did ghosts. Welcome back to the Average Adventuring Party podcast, where shit happens, people die.
You sponsor F-bombs?
You sponsor F-bombs, yeah.
Yeah.
We have no F-bombs, do
Yeah.
we?
We don't have any F-bombs this time.
Well, that fucking sucks.
So you know what? F-bombs to all the people that aren't buying F-bombs.
Yeah, this one's on the house. Fuck you. For $5, we can.
I'll
target
fuck
that
you for
somewhere else.
$5.
We can unfuck you if you join our Patreon.
You heard it here, folks. I will fuck you for $5.
You heard it here. We will unfuck you for more.
I have said repeatedly, I want one of our patron tiers to be, send us your best player's dice and we will fuck them up with bad juju and send them back.
We have that power.
Yes,
if
we do.
you've heard us rolling, we will fuck the hell out of those dice. Wait, what?
Especially me. If my last few encounters are any indication, I cannot roll above a 3.
He hasn't noticed those dice have been switched out yet.
And Steve's over there, just like microwaving my dice to unbalance
I
them.
know, I'm just filing off all the double-digit numbers.
Hoodoo the voodoo.
So yeah,
Like you do?
it's it's been a couple weeks for us.
Yeah.
Nothing is changing for you, the listener. But
That's the great thing is, we take breaks and we come back and we're all rusty as hell. And the listeners hear this nice, smooth progression. And then we're like, twitch, bad. And then we're like, okay, we're settled again. And then we're like,
what you guys didn't see was the 2 hours preceding this recording session, us trying to figure out how the hell the system works again. Because, at any time I'm working on 4 systems and we haven't played in a month and a half and
We played different systems.
systems because none of us felt like recording. So hopefully nothing's changed for you, and you guys have just finished the wonderful world of Iacus and his arc.
yeah.
He had an arc?
Well, I had a
of the
jacket,
Covenant?
and now I don't.
Without
so
a jacket.
that's-
Or a hat! Or did you get the hat back?
Iacus and the Ark of the Covenant?
No.
No.
Hold on. Wait, maybe. This was in my notes the whole time. No. So normally I would ask for a recap, but that guy's not important. We're done. He's dead. Whatever. Move on.
Spoilers, yo. Maybe they jumped around. Maybe they're just joining us now.
Maybe they just want to hear Galdrien's
In
story.
which case, he still has his jacket.
It is really Schrodinger's jacket at this point.
Maybe they're just here for this sexy elf.
That's what I just said.
No, Ardith is
we're
last.
good. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that resting bitch face really does it for a lot of people.
You know, quite honestly, you'd be surprised.
I mean,
I've seen our metrics.
That's what you said when I drew the picture.
Yeah.
Do that, but bitchier. No, so actually, kind of moving forward, I won't say this every time, but you know, there's that old saying about never split the party. Well, I was a dumbass during the end of season 2, and I split the party not 1, 2, or 3 ways, but technically 5 ways.
You did this to yourself.
I did this to myself.
Well, if we had rolled better.
Yeah, if you guys had rolled a little better, maybe it would have been different. But, so Iacus was our first one. And now that he's dead and gone, we don't have to worry about him anymore.
Emotional damage.
He is roast beef.
So, just so you the listeners know where we're coming from. We're going to, or both, whatever. We're coming from and at.
And on.
And you know, where, when, how.
At least, if nothing else.
How did this get
In
behind
their
my ear?
ears.
You heard it. Average adventure party coming at your ears. Oh, I need to make a sticker of that. I don't know what it'll be, but it's got to be something. Anyway,
Headphones.
Is that hair, Joe?
yeah. So, provided you know things don't go catastrophically wrong, we've broken season 3 up into basically an arc for each of the main characters that you guys have encountered thus far. So, having said that, we're not going to have a recap of what happened in Iacus's adventure.
God.
Go listen to it.
Yeah, just go listen to it. You know what? Actually, just go listen to all of them from the beginning. Episode 1, start there.
No, start at like episode 3. Gets better.
It doesn't.
The audio gets better.
Yeah, okay, the audio gets better.
Yeah,
Okay.
when we accidentally didn't use the USB microphone and just used the fucking onboard laptop microphone, and the sound quality improved.
And I think
Consider this an anti-endorsement for that fucking blue microphone.
I think
But it made it-
episode 10 is when we started really kind of getting comfortable.
Episode 10 is when the shit went down.
Listen, technically, you could jump on at any point.
That's what she said.
But, hey, listen, I don't judge. Just saying, if you're going to jump on multiple times starting at the beginning.
Yes. Listen to it all.
Yeah. Multiple times.
Yes.
You don't even have to have a refractory period or anything. You can listen to one episode right after the other. Just,
That'd take too long. You need.
you know, honestly,
Binge.
Listen to like 3 episodes at once.
and I'll say this, and this will be my probably last non-podcast specific thing. I listen to podcasts at a time and a quarter speed because it doesn't really alter the quality at all, but it lets me get in one extra podcast for the price of 3. So when I'm listening to, you know, I pick up a new feed and it's got 700,000 episodes because they've been going for 40 years, I can listen to them in a relatively decent amount of time.
Pro tip: when you're in like 30 fucking episodes into our show, ha.
I'm trying
Where
to
we
think.
were at around there. Were we still in Weird Swift around 30? I think.
Oh, somebody was. I think Weird Swift was into some of y'all around that time.
Yeah. Good time.
So speaking of her
No.
favorite people, let's talk about Galdrien, you guys.
Galdrien's favorite topic?
No,
No, Galdrien is not nearly that self-obsessed. He's
he's a little narcissistic, but not much, and most of it is quite honestly earned.
yeah, Galdrien knows he's pretty, but he also sees what he likes in other people too.
Mostly himself.
He likes to see himself in other people.
He just likes the upkeep.
So when we last saw Galdrien, there was a small explosion. And by small, I mean continent shaking, mountain breaking, fling him 1,000 miles into a desert-size explosion. He has had a rough time of it since then, mostly because when he was found by this creature. And Steph, if you want to describe said creature.
You might have to help jog my memory on this. There's this very, very tall elemental woman. We assume, anyway. Wasn't she yellow?
She was.
Yeah, help me out here.
Let me see. So I'll
describe.
I'll give you a hand here.
Since you made her.
Yeah. So she is particularly tall and lanky. She's about 9 foot tall.
Giant woman.
And she is dark saffron colored.
Okay, yeah, I knew yellow.
Unlike most people, she has 4 arms, each of which has a gigantic silver bracer, probably somewhere in the size of the average person's head.
Because 9 foot tall.
Yeah. She has a large, flat face, no nose, no mouth, but very wide, expressive eyes. And when she speaks, she does physically speak, though there is
No mouth.
no mouth movement. Dress and everything I'll leave up to you.
Okay.
Those are the salient points.
Okay, we're gonna go with a, let's see, not quite knee-length toga-ish outfit with a silver sash. Match the thing she's got going on there. And apparently we're digging in sand to find a very disheveled pretty elf.
Yeah. So this creature is an elemental being, like you said. You, excuse me. You've been chasing Galdrien since the Caldera. In fact, you were in Hycosia, which is a city that floats over this massive continent-sized desert to the south of the mountain. And your master had just come to you at one point and said he found his son. And he was nearby. And almost before you could get your stuff, sent you just flying away with this bolt of magical energy. You landed in the Caldera in time to see a group of ragtag individuals, we will call them.
That's generous.
Including a minotaur and a fox person and a couple of elves riding on horrendous dragon monsters as they were, running towards something. You've been chasing them since then. And with everything that happened with the red dragons, you got close enough to Galdrien at one point that you could basically lock on to him. And with everything, the explosions, the invasions of kobolds and resurrection of dragons, you kind of got out of there at the same time as him before everything truly went to shit. So you were able to track him down across the desert, and you dug his sorry corpse up. Not actually a corpse.
Yeah, not a corpse.
So you've been traveling. The nearest way station to the city of Hycosia it was weeks. There are very few creatures in this desert. So for weeks and weeks and weeks, probably the better part of a month, you guys have been traveling, and it has just been sand. I want you to think of the largest, sandiest, hilliest desert that is nothing but ups and downs and sand dunes. and occasionally a small oasis. That's what you've been going through. This, if it weren't for your impeccable survival abilities and some of the more supernatural things that you can do, neither of you would make it. And that's where we'll pick up. Is you guys have made it to a way station, which is a small but portable city, semi-permanent. It could be packed up at any time. They're kind of, they stay for a while based on how Hycosia orbits, because it does the city of Hycosia doesn't stay in place. It just flies all over the desert, seemingly at random. Someone knows what it's doing. But these little way stations wait until they are out of orbit, and then they pick up and move. You guys have been here for, we'll say like 3 days. And there's not a lot to do here. There's a lot of, we'll say, lodging. In that you can rent something for Galdrien, but there is nothing your size. There's not very much entertainment. These are very utilitarian camps, which is completely and entirely different from Hycosia, because Hycosia you can find anything at any time at all hours.
At any price.
At any price.
Going to Vegas, baby.
Yeah, Galdrien, honestly, probably the roughest thing here is that there are no baths. In fact, that's a lie. There are baths. And you pay for a bath. But what you get is a guy with a jar of sand who literally has you strip and then pours sand over you and rubs you down.
What, no steam tents?
No. And the door of horrors opens.
Your soap is useless.
Galdrien has probably got the 1,000-yard stare going on as he's sitting on a sand dune, emptying out both of his boots.
Which is funny, because that's honestly probably how that attendant actually cleaned your boots. While one of them was pouring sand on you, one was pouring hot sand into your boots to kill the germs.
And he's pouring sand out of his boots. Doesn't put the boots back on, sets them down, takes his loot off of his back, turns it over, starts dumping sand out of it. And his hair, normally he wears his hair down, but right now it is tied into a high ponytail behind his head, and he just looks very worn, still annoyingly pretty. And
yeah, a lot of the locals, if they walk by Galdrien at some point and see him with an uncovered head, they hand you this. Someone will hand you a rough woolen shawl to throw over your head, because there is absolutely no cover aside from being in a building.
Yeah, and he'll put it back on, but his ponytail is still sticking out from underneath it, and he's going to look up at the sky and he's going to just not say anything for a few minutes and then say, "So, how long has my father known that I even exist?"
You said about a year, right?
So from what he told you, he knew where Galdrien was the second you found out. So it's been a couple of weeks since that. He didn't really explain beyond that.
Oh, several weeks, little young one. Several weeks.
Right.
I found you and he knew.
Well, you know, you didn't find any others. You didn't find perhaps another elf. You know what? Minotaur, annoying little fox.
Unfortunately, young one, you were my main concern. I was tasked to find you. If the others were near, I would have brought them along. But unfortunately, you are my main task.
I'm gonna take a nap.
Yes, you do that. The heat. Nap when you can in this heat.
And we'll say Galdrien gets about 3 steps away when you see something, or probably Saiyna sees it. You've seen this before, but coming rushing over the hills miles away is just this gigantic shadow that is just getting closer and closer to you. And when I say gigantic, I mean it blots out all the dunes for miles in that direction.
So, floating city, not sandstorm.
Floating city.
Okay, just making sure.
Yeah. No, there are sandstorms, but
No, just making sure that wasn't what was coming.
yeah, no.
Because that was my first thought.
You turn around, sandstorm. Darude is right behind you.
God damn it.
Also not a sponsor, but, you know. If you want to be.
We won't argue.
Yeah, so this massive shadow just comes rushing at you. And it fills, it's kind of like watching a tidal wave where it seems small at first, but then you get a true grasp of its scale. And by the time the very tip of it reaches where this way station is, there's probably 300 or 400 miles of shadow that you can see.
Sorry.
It sounded like that.
Yeah, the shadow just goes.
Imagine Galdrien finally having the shade. It's like after looking up and making sure that it's not a dragon because he's got a little bit of
PTSD.
yeah, and
I
that
think we all do.
takes off the shawl and shakes off his head and
Whip it.
keeps his hair in the ponytail though because it's still fucking hot.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people, a lot of the handlers around the camp start yelling, and there are very few other travelers aside from you. There's maybe like 2 other people here. At which point they start getting ready, and one of the handlers comes running up to you and says, "Are you ready? Are you ready? Any moment."
Yes. Let me gather up my charge.
What?
I'm just gonna pick you up.
Ah!
Yes. Our ride is here.
This is utterly humiliating.
You'll be fine.
And you will be utterly humiliated.
Your dignity will not suffer too greatly.
I'd like to check my bags, please.
So, as you're there, the ground starts shaking and the wind starts whipping up. Sand blows everywhere, and there's
shielding his eyes with the hand.
You could put the shawl back on,
Yeah, he's gonna go and start putting the shawl back on or just holding it in front of his face.
there's just this brief instant where you feel like something is crushing down on top of you.
You mean besides the giant woman holding me?
Gently.
More along the lines of Galdrien has been in a couple of situations where buildings are collapsing on him. That it's that kind of you get the sense of something like massive rushing at you, and you're standing in the middle of this way station, and for a second you're there, right before it hits, and then you are standing at the exact same way station, except you are now in this beautiful open, verdant park that has palm trees and fountains of water. Almost everyone who was standing around you is there. And then after a second, you see the rest of them kind of pop in for a second. And then they're gone, leaving just you two and these other two travelers, who are a couple of halflings, who pick up their bags and just walk away, like nothing's happened.
I will very gently push you down.
The sky is a beautiful dark azure blue, and completely cloudless, and there is just, it is like a solid 60 degrees.
Galdrien will slowly exhale and say, finally. You have to understand, I'm not used to that much sand.
Oh, very few are. And those who are, they love it, they live in it, and they are a very, very special breed.
I'm pretty sure I've made a pearl.
What, where? When Galdrien says that, like, there's a, we'll say there's a young mantis boy who's pushing two sets of brooms. The boy just stops and stares at him. Looks around, compound eyes kind of go in different directions, shakes his head, starts brushing in a different way.
Galdrien will be patted on the head by one saffron hand. There. But welcome to Hycosia.
Well, can't say I was expecting this. I heard stories about Hycosia, but I had never really planned to come visit. I always assumed my father was, well, perhaps from the sovereignty, or maybe even the 5-star authority, but never expected this.
Well, but now you're here. Now you can meet him, and let's go. Let's get you cleaned up and presentable for your father.
Right. I suppose a proper non-sand bath would be nice.
Yes, I can order one of those for you.
You don't need to fuss. I'm used to roughing it.
I can scrub even better.
But this is what I do.
Yes, well, I've been an adventurer for 2 lifetimes. I am used to taking care of myself.
But you have also been in the desert for many days. Are you sure you're all right to walk?
I am fine. And as Galdrien says that, he takes a couple steps and then his legs just turn into jelly, and he's like, being this high up, really, really disorienting.
It's not just that. So as a being on a plane, you don't as a people on Earth, you don't register the movement of the star that you're on hurtling through the cosmos. On Hycosia, it is very much like being on a naval ship. Like, you have a sense of acceleration. Something is always slightly off because you are moving, and you can feel it.
1 second. And I would like to make a constitution check not to vomit.
Sure.
That is an 11.
Yeah, Galdrien's like, I'm fine, and then just leans over and vomits. At which point, there looks to have been someone literally ready for this, who comes over, pulls some dust out of his pack, sprinkles it on the ground, sweeps it up, and then hands Galdrien a drink.
And Saiyna was holding your hair.
That's why they have a manti there with a couple of brooms on standby.
Thank you. Sorry.
No. It's normal.
He gives you this is another mantid. He is not small like the first one. He's about your height, so he's fairly tall, taller than average. But he is very. If you didn't know better, you would say standoffish. Like he does not touch you while you are doing this. He doesn't speak to you. He just simply cleans up the mess and hands you a water, and then backs away.
Galdrien looks at him and says, sorry again. Didn't mean to make you have to clean that up.
It chitters at you, which, Saiyna, let's talk about this for a moment. You are attuned to the city through your bracers.
Okay.
So anytime someone speaks around you, you can understand them.
Cool.
If you need information about the city or you want to hail a city service, you can just do so.
Cool.
So this creature basically gave him a dismissive, it's my life to do this, as kind of a, like, don't worry about it. And then backed up, just sitting there waiting.
This is his job. This happens very often. Not everyone is accustomed to, what was that, teleport?
Technically, it was, if you want to put a modern term to it, it was more akin to wormhole, the same place existing in multiple locations at the same time.
We're just gonna call it teleport just to ease this
Translocation.
Yeah.
this guy's mind, because that might be a little bit much.
Saiyna probably actually does understand the
she-
physics of it.
She understands it. It's just that this poor guy's been through so much. Let's not overburden him with wonders. So yes, not everyone reacts to the teleport well.
I've teleported before. That felt very... I don't know if it's because the entire city is moving or what, but I feel better now. Thank you, good sir, and Galdrien will wave to the mantid.
Yeah, it gives you, it's got...
It has 4 fingers to give you.
It's got, a large set of manipulators, and then it has a very small set of,
The hooked hands?
yeah, like T-Rex hooked hands. And it kind of gives you a very small passive wave, and then goes back to its post.
Sorry, just got a Charlie horse just fucking sitting here.
It's not a horse, it's a mantid.
But his name is Charlie.
It's like,
Charlie.
Yeah. We're in Fantasyland. There's not enough apostrophes and hyphens in there.
so Galdrien will look a little puzzled and say, well, all right, I could use that bath, I suppose.
Yes.
Want to be clean if I'm going to meet my father.
Well, I figured that you would rather be comfortable in your own skin before we meet him.
I don't know that I'm going to be comfortable at all, but thank you.
I mean, you don't mind the sand? In your places?
No, I really need the bath. I assumed that my father was just someone who, happened to have weak pull-out game.
Are you going to say that to his face?
Do you actually say that?
No, he kind of like, it's like, I never expected that he even knew I existed, and whoever he was, I did not hold that against him. have lived my entire life and then some, never expecting to meet my father, and now he has found me and was looking for me, and I'm not certain how I feel about that yet.
Yes, yes, it is a great surprise. So, shall we go?
Yes.
Are you okay to walk, or should I call a cab?
I would like to see the city myself without extra fanfare, if possible.
But are you okay to walk?
I think I should be good now. I was inside of a dragon for a while, and then
Oh, impressive.
inside of a weird egg thing, and then in the desert, and then
Then I found you.
a floating city, and
Yeah, so if you look at where you're at, because you have access to effectively a city map at all times, you're probably about 500 miles from his father's estate.
Ooh, shit.
But you are still in. Let's roughly divide the city into quarters. Galdrien's father. Let's roughly divide the city into fifths. Galdrien's father basically owns this 3/5 of Hycosia. From the maps that you have of his estates, like he has interests in this side of the city, so you're not in unfriendly territory. The fastest way for you to get there would be to charter a flying rug.
I'm gonna let this poor sap walk a bit to see if he can, and let him sightsee a bit, and then we'll go charter that.
Okay.
yeah, Galdrien will just want to see a little bit and see a little bit of what it looks like here. He's only heard stories. He's dealt with the halfling merchant families before, both in this life and the previous one, I imagine. And he knows that they're a force to be reckoned with in Hycosia, but he doesn't know anything else about it.
Yeah, so the area you're in, you walk for a ways, and it is, like I said, a beautifully manicured park with sandstone paths that are just perfectly even and cut straight. There's a lot of statues, a lot of decorative fountains with like hopping water exhibits. There's not many people walking around. And when you get to the edge, there's a fence, like a sandstone fence with these beautifully ornate wrought iron, spikes just sticking out of it that are covered in flowering vines. But beyond that, you can't really see anything until you step through the gate. So whereas the sky in this garden is, you would say like mid-afternoon, but it's unnaturally blue and calm. When you step outside, the sky is pitch black. You can't even see the moon or the stars. What is lighting everything, however, are just hundreds of signs from buildings that go up 30, 40 stories.
The hell?
You find yourself in this wide avenue that branches off in multiple directions with these roads that are 50, 60, 70 feet wide. And there are vehicles of all kinds being pulled by animals. Galdrien, we'll say of the core group, Galdrien has probably traveled the most. Well, maybe Iacus has traveled as much as he has. Comparatively, they have seen some shit. There are races on these streets that Galdrien has never seen before. There are thousands of people walking around, like just pressed to each other, going into buildings, drinking, carousing in some of the streets. There is music constantly, just 50 different types of music coming from different directions. A lot of the signs are for casinos and for business ventures and loans and you name it. Just even in this immediate area that Galdrien can see, like there are entire cities worth of everything just right here. And beyond that, if you look, we'll just pick a direction. You can probably see for miles that it goes the same way.
Wow. Oh, wow.
It is immediately and almost overwhelmingly deafening.
This is a lot more densely populated than I expected.
Yes, yes. Nicosia is full of surprises.
About how far away are we from where my father is?
Quite far. I figured I'd let you walk until you got tired and then we'd hail a carpet.
Also, to be fair, Saiyna, this is a tourist district. Like, this is where they expect people to come on, so they put all the bright lights here.
Ah, it's a tourist trap. And it's not all like this. Just, right here, they gather in the tourists.
All right. How about we walk to somewhere where I can get a bath, and then we can take the carpet.
As Galdrien says that, you're pretty familiar with all instruments, right?
Yeah, he's kind of a jack of all trades when it comes to the instruments. Luke's his specialty, but
You hear this really thundering, like at first you think, you remember when Kemet first stepped out, like the sound of his claws and feet hitting the ground, just that boom, boom. Like you think of something that big, and then it starts boom, 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 and starts picking up a beat. And then you start hearing horns. And within a minute or so, you see this vehicle that's being pulled by elephants that just looks like a long trailer that has... There is a halfling standing on one of the elephants facing backwards towards the trailer. And he's got a baton in one hand, and he's got a big hat in the other, and he is leading a trailer full of halfling musicians who are blowing on trumpets and playing drums, and throwing stuff out into the crowd.
Did we just come into the middle of a Mardi Gras parade?
This is kind of... Saiyna has seen something like this before, and this is kind of one of those... Like, they're probably throwing out casino credits to get people into the casinos. Because, the halfling merchant families they'll take a small loss to get a big win. So yeah, it is the start of a small parade.
Galdrien's going to listen. Say, well, at least the music is lively.
Very. Now, do you want that bath? Or do you want to watch the spectacle some more?
How's the music? Is it?
It is very up-tempo, and depends on what you like. So let's just use a real-world equivalent. If you're into, like marching jazz, then yeah, it might do something for you. But otherwise, it's that kind of like pep rally style music to get people on their toes and get excited. And oh look, there's the pretty halfling girl who's throwing out 10 gold coins, chips at a time.
Out of her bra.
Yeah, just like pulling them out of her bra. Which really, really begs the question of like, how can she get both hands in there, throw them out, and then the bra still fit?
I think Galdrien will want to watch for just a few minutes.
Yeah, Sienna's gonna hover protectively behind you. Or right to your left or right.
Well, you certainly do cast quite a shadow.
Saiyna, there are quite a few of your people here, and they're either not paying attention, or are hurrying to do specific tasks, or like you are with a very specific person that they are standing in a very similar way and keeping the crowd from doing anything to them. And those people are very noticeable because you guys are 9 feet tall.
We're not subtle.
You are not subtle.
I get to one. I cannot help being what I am.
Well,
I don't
you're
know what
Iacus
you
this time.
No,
Giant woman.
no, I actually quite, you know, I've known other elementals from my travels, but you know, you do not need to change who you are. I like you as you are.
Death by snoo snoo.
That's as good because I cannot change.
Well,
And I like
Whether-
you too, good one.
well, thank you. You've been a good traveling companion. I'm just sorry that you've been sent to find me, and I'm not exactly. I wouldn't say I'm apprehensive. I would say I'm not sure how I feel about all of this. I'm not sure. I don't even know what sort of man my father is. I haven't asked, but you haven't told me a lot.
He was very eager to meet you.
Well, points in his favor, I suppose.
And no harm done. You could meet him, and I'm sure he will be free to go afterwards, if that's what you so choose.
Right. Well, and Galdrien will look at the halfling parade. Do they even target him at all for throwing credits his way?
They probably don't pass directly by you. And we'll say, one of the little street runners comes up to go press something into your hand, sees Saiyna, and is like, oh, and then gives it to somebody else and runs away. And after a few moments, it passes. It was not a large parade, but it does continue down one of the roads. And coincidentally, a bunch of people start taking their credits inside.
Effective marketing.
Right. All of those people are about to become very poor.
Yes, they are.
Right. Well, I suppose that's a honey trap in one place is a honey trap in any other. Right. I really need that bath.
And Saiyna will escort him to a very nice, reputable bathhouse away from the touristy bits.
You'll have to go away.
Okay.
There's not one within walking distance.
Okay, one within walking distance. That's the least touristy, trappy.
Yeah, Saiyna takes you to...
Which is why I meant by reputable.
It takes you down a couple of back alleys, effectively to what the workers would use, and you get a lot of looks because you are dressed, one, differently, but two, you don't have that kind of air of being defeated. You actually stand with your head held high. You're not, just beaten down day and night by this spectacle. And as soon as they see you, an attendant comes out, goes to welcome you in, sees Saiyna, and then just bows his head, steps aside, and presses up against a wall.
Do you get that a lot?
Unfortunately, yes. But,
And, he doesn't say anything to you. Mm-hmm. But if anybody else sees you, you get exactly the similar behavior, and people start to scatter if you go into they leave you alone.
mm-hmm. But Saiyna likes people, so she is slightly disappointed about this reaction all the time. Mm-hmm. But she will pay, whether or not they pick it up or not.
Yeah, if you go to pay them, tries to tell you no, and if you set it down
And walk away.
yeah, just walk away. He leaves it there.
Do you want your clothes laundered, or would you like some replacements? or temporary ones.
What's the state of Galdrien's clothes right now?
His magical items are clean at will.
So the cloak and
The cloak and the jacket.
The jacket of...
His actual clothes are probably sandblasted, burnt,
Gooey.
like
dried
stained,
dragon guts. All right, let's...
cut up. They're not good.
He's good. I'll say, keep the jacket and the cloak. They're basically indestructible, but I suppose I should get some new clothes. Nothing too fancy, all right? I'm not a fancy man.
Liar.
Yep. You're able to go into one of the baths, take a bath, and by the time you come out, Saiyna, you were able to just get clothes couriered over.
And they're not as fancy as they could be, but still a little fancier than you probably wanted.
There is at least a tabard and a turban. There is some basic jewelry, so just some like big golden and gem-studded rings that are kind of gaudy.
I can't even play the lute with these. They get in the way.
And a lot of silks. Like not ornate silk, but
It's still silk.
it's silk. And even weirder than that, you get dressed, start putting things back on. It is precisely tailored to you.
I'm not even going to ask him. He's not going to wear the rings. Like he might like. Is there like a chain or something around his neck?
Yeah, if you want there to be a necklace, you can certainly have a necklace.
If there's going to be rings, he's only going to put them on the chain because, they mess with the finger dexterity when playing the lute.
Yes, when playing the lute.
Or when...
Or the little man in the boat.
Or when, when you're plucking at the G string.
Yeah, so that takes probably the better part of an hour.
Feeling better?
Yes, I there was sand in places where no woman has ever touched me.
Many people say that.
One of the younger servants at this bathhouse kind of like snickers at that, and then when he sees you, he just puts his head back down.
Please, you don't need to do that. You don't need to avoid eye contact with me. I'm not. I know I have an escort, but I'm just, I'm just passing by.
It just continues to look at the floor. Conversely, your flying carpet is ready whenever you want it.
Ooh. Shall we go directly to your father's estate now?
And Galdrien will look and see that everyone is still avoiding looking at him.
Yes, and looking at her. And looking at the pile of money she set on the floor.
And whatever clothes you didn't take with you.
Just 1 second.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the part where we get demonetized.
And this is the part where the rap breaks down. So intent, no one makes a sound.
Galdrien is going to retrieve his lute and smile and seeing that it's magical, so he can kind of get the last bits of sand out of it, and he's going to sing a jaunty little limerick tune, and just see if he can get a reaction from the servants.
All right.
So, before I get started, is there a city anywhere in the on the continent that
Rhymes with Nantucket? No.
that rhymes with seeds?
Huh. I don't think so.
Okay.
But there might be something like that in the authority. They tend to have very literal and
Or maybe they're the Pleiades. Pleiades? I don't know.
no, go ahead.
The Pleiades, or the...
Pleiades? No.
All right. Hold on 1 second. There once was a halfling from Aram who had a very strange method to calm. She'd cup her hands and fondle your glands and squeeze them in her big hairy palm.
Yeah, you probably get like some of the younger. There are a lot of young adults. You get some giggles and smirks, but an older person will look over and then they'll shut up.
And of course, Galdrien sings that, but I'm not going to sing for the. I'm going to
Oh,
spare.
our listeners aren't worth singing for, huh?
I'm going to spare them that travesty, and
Says the guy with perfect pitch.
yeah, well, perfect pitch doesn't mean good voice, and I will. And Galdrien will take a bow, with a big smile, and say they didn't like that one at the Caldera.
I can't imagine why.
And he'll take some of his own coin, which is probably like Sun Chaser Sovereignty, and add it to the pile, and give them a little salute, and turn on his heel and leave. He's in somewhat higher spirits now because Caldera people didn't really do the whole music thing.
Yeah,
Or not the kind of music that he does.
they had a lot of other concerns. Yeah, you guys step out, and waiting for you is a vehicle. So it's probably about a 30-foot square carpet. Now put a bench on it that is made of carpet, and put a gazebo style cover on it that is also made of carpet. It is sitting there waiting for you. Standing atop it is a man who's sitting on a stool made of carpet.
Is the man made of carpet?
He is not sure if he is made of carpet or if the carpet is made of flesh.
Oh God, no, no,
Body
nope.
horror, body horror.
No, he is not.
That's never happened in this game before.
He is not made of carpet.
Thank God.
He is actually this very smooth-skinned green man. You guys have actually seen someone very similar to him in the Caldera. One of the monks, Brother Green.
Oh yes, yes.
So bald head, pointed ears. And your old friend,
Yes.
the Keeper of the Moon. For notes on that reference, see a game that we never recorded. Anyway, you recognize him as a Gith. He is an astral sea people, and when he sees you, he immediately beckons over to Saiyna, and he has a kind of like a cane, and when he does, he flips it out, and another carpet flips off and then unrolls itself to your feet.
After you, young one.
Right. And Galdrien will carefully step on, expecting it to kind of give a little bit.
So you step onto the carpet, and it immediately picks you up and then just conveys you to the rug, and then rolls itself back up.
Well, that just feels luxurious.
Welcome to Hycosia.
The Gith turns around and says, "Welcome, welcome. Hands and feet inside at all times, unless you can fly." And he kind of looks at you and says, "I don't mean to judge, but I don't think you can. So hands and feet inside at all times."
I used to be able to. Had wings once. It's a long story.
Ah, I see. Well, as you don't have wings now, I have to legally inform you. Please don't.
Right.
Exit are here, here, everywhere.
Yeah, and he gestures to one of the seats on the bench. Says, "Have a seat. Have a seat. Do you have a destination?"
Does the estate have a name?
The estate does not have a name, but the estate is also hundreds of buildings. Like the actual living estate is hundreds of buildings.
Because I need to name a destination here.
Um,
Where the fuck are we going?
You can call it the Lunar Storm compound.
To the lunar storm, please.
And he, yes. Very good, very good. And then he stops and says, may I see your authorization? That is restricted airspace.
I will show him my authorization.
Now you just hold up one of your bracers.
Yeah,
and-
that's what I figured it was.
Yes. Oh, very good. And this is would you like the scenic route? Or are we in a hurry? Sorry, I don't like to presume.
Would you like to see more of the city, or would you like to get this over with?
I'm torn.
Sneak route.
Right.
Very good. And the carpet, the edges like fold up just a little bit to make a lip. Carpet slowly rises and then just shoots off.
I love this part.
There is no wind resistance at all. Like you feel nothing. You can tell that you're moving. While you're soaring over the city, the strangest sensation you get though is passing through day and night. Different parts of the city have their own cycles. So when you start to leave the tourist area, there is no transition. You suddenly just find yourself in the day. And you are overlooking very similar structure. You know, they're all made of this like really polished sandstone, but it's daytime. There's a lot less people. And this goes on for minutes. Meanwhile, standing on top of a building, there is a figure.
I am the shadow.
In the
Aww.
moonlit night, except it's daytime, there is a figure. If you would like to describe that figure, Mike.
Well, he is very tiny. He's probably about 11 inches tall.
You're a Barbie doll.
Yes, but he is impeccably well dressed in a very fine suit. It happens to be a dark blue suit right now, and his hat is a nice little diadem, a crown of sorts, and it's all blue leaves around his head. He is very dark skinned, and kind of has a little impish gleam in his little pixie eye.
Yeah. So standing on top of this, probably not the tallest building in the area, but fairly close, is this tiny little pixie. And you see soaring off into the sky one of these luxury rugs.
Mm.
And seated atop it are an elf and a elemental that you're familiar with. You've seen Saiyna before.
Yes.
As long as the flight takes to kind of get out of your eyesight, you're able to burn Galdrien's features into your mind. You can recognize him on sight. And for that matter, as long as he is in this city, you know where he's at all times.
Rhys kind of chuckles to himself. He's like, I was wondering when he'd show up.
Dun dun dun.
And that's where we'll leave off for this episode, I think. It might end up being a shorter episode after I cut our 20, 30 minutes of.
Yeah, like Mike was giving me the look of like how much time is it? And like I was trying to signal very silently that even though we're over an hour, it's not gonna be.
No, I'm just trying to keep us close to that.
Yeah, it's fine. As long as I hit the like 50 to 70 minute mark, I'm good.
Yeah, it's
What's your name?
Rhys. Rhis.
I'm playing, believe it or not, Galdrien.
Le gasp. So, I'm not gonna apologize for cutting you two out.
I don't care.
Yeah, no.
Okay, well then get the fuck out.
You heard it, everyone. Get fucked.
No, I think that's a good place to stop. Has anybody got anything? Season 3, part 2, sub part 4. Anything you want to plug?
Oh, yes. Oh, wait, never mind. I've been waiting for weeks to use that one.
That's
Not
enough
that
about
thing.
Calais.
We don't want to hear about Minotaur / Centaur breeding habits.
I do because, it's going to turn out that Calais is pregnant and he's half Minotaur and half Centaur and it's just a guy. He got the human half from both of them.
I'm a man.
You man horse.
Horseman cow. So, I guess I'll give the usual. Find us on the places. Do the things. Subscribe.
We still do mouth stuff.
Yeah, we'll still do mouth stuff. Find us on Linktree. I would say find us on Twitter, but
Yeah.
I don't. As of November 22, I don't know how relevant that statement's going to be.
Yeah. I mean, we'll still stick around to roast marshmallows on it, but yeah.
Insert dumpster fire gif.
Oh, we inserted dumpster fire when I added you guys to the game. Heyo.
Oh.
All right.
Take 1d4 points of fire damage for that burn.
Please apply ointment to the side of the burn. That's all I've got. Unless you guys have anything. Last chance.
The only thing I have is my little nephew's the cutest wink ever.
Oh.
Nice.
Yes, we're recording this after Halloween, and the nephew is very adorable in his little Link costume. And
No, we don't have lives outside of this game. We don't exist outside of this game.
But he's a tiny geek in training.
Oh. Well,
let's get him on the show.
in 13 years, we'll have him on the show.
Yes, my brother can, lead him in with D&D, and then you can show him all the other things.
All right, now that you've learned how to play, here's how to fuck it up for your future GMs.
Let us introduce trauma.
Oh, but I already have plenty of that. All right. So I think that's all we got. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you guys next time.